So what I've done is I've kind of cleaned everything. Last night I pretty much put all the brand new spark plugs. I put the coils back in, had done the valve covers and all that stuff. Put in the power steering pump. Hondas are known for having power steering pumps that leak, and personally I think it's just maintenance. There's an O-ring that goes right here off of this pipe into the pump, and that's where they leak from. And in this Honda, I've had two, a 2008, 2006. In this one, and in my 2008, I've sold it, but in this one, every year, every other year, I would drain the power steering fluid and put a new one in, and it seems to be working okay. It had been recalled for that, and the warranty had been extended from 3 years, 36,000 to 100,000 miles, and I think I took it in right before the 100,000 miles, and they checked it and they said there was nothing wrong. Now, when you're screwing in, there's another thing that I was taught when I was a electronic technician, is because we dealt with very small screws, and so when you're screwing a screw in, the first thing you want to do is go back, and you'll hear a click. I don't know if y'all heard that click. And then that means that the threads have aligned. Now, I dealt with real small little screws, and those you have to feel them. This one you can actually hear it. It's a nice snap. And so I know that they're totally aligned, the threads, and I'm not gonna cross thread anything. So, a guy named Steve Munich, this is back in the 81, 82 era of my life when I was a tech, and he basically taught me that. Along with he taught me electronics, he taught me how to repair home and car audio, and then after doing that for several years, up until about 1986, 87, that's when I decided to go back to school and get my electrical engineering degree. And that was an interesting time back then. I actually got to see the throwaway society in electronics come to be. The radios we used to repair or sell, like the minimum cost was like $350, and that was a lot of money back in late 70s, early 80s. And by 1982, 83, I believe it was Clarion came out with a $99 radio. And we would get to open them up, and it was just junk. I mean, anyway, they work for some people, and other people just kept buying the good stuff. So, I do have the manual for this. I'm gonna have to go get it to figure out what the order is on tightening this. Now, besides screws being longer and shorter than other, I've noticed in the manual where it'll say replace the bolt, and when it says that, it's because that bolt, when you torque it, it'll stretch, and so technically you don't want to run the chance that you're going to reuse that bolt, tighten it, and then it stretches again and it'll snap. I know for a fact that when you're dealing with the heads and you're pulling off the cylinder heads, the bolts that are going in there, a lot of times those are stretchable and you have to replace those. In this case, these you can reuse and say replace. So I'll be back. I'm going to go get figure out the numbers. I may write them here where they're at, just so that I know. And then the torque, I believe the torque, I have it right here. I wrote it all down. Head cover torques is 12 Newton meters and 3 steps. Intake manifold is 22. And I believe they want you to do them in 3 steps, like do 10, 15, and then 22, or 11, half of that, and then go to 20. I go to 18 and then go to 22, so I may just do that. All right. All right, so I have I kind of just copied the numbers. And so number 1 is right here. This is the order. I'm going to do it in probably 3 steps. So I'm going to just tighten this down a little bit. This is 5. This is 6. This is 7. This is 8. And this is 9. So 1. 2, this is 3. This is 4. This is 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. Okay, let me go one more time just to make sure they're all at half.
Oh, that's unlocked?
I pushed it again and it opened, so I didn't really want it. That was not.
Okay. Let's see, it's 20, 22. Okay, so it's 11. So 11, 10. Let's go to 16. Whoop. Boy, that's way too much. Go to 18, then I'll go to 22. All right, here we go. 18. All right, now 22, the final one. All right, here we go. Wow. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, done. Just tightening those.